Hey tankers, welcome back to World of Tanks with Hachiman. I am bringing you a video today, a special one for me, my debut of the M60 medium tank. This tank is available in the shop for bonds, and I finally have purchased it after a long grind getting to 15,000 bonds, long because I don't do ranked battles. I rarely play tier 10. Until I got to about my last 500 bonds needed, then I started grinding tier 10. I'm notoriously bad at tier 10, so I avoid it. So, the M60 Patton, as you see, I've got mine equipped with the Queen Maeve kit, and I've got Queen Maeve on my tank as my commander, with 3 female crews from the M48 Patton, my most trained crew in World of Tanks, 5 complete perks, and almost done with number 6. So, just going to go over the tank in the garage with you for a moment, and then we will we'll look at my first game. I've only played 2 games in the tank. First game, I was very impressed. My second game, well, I peeked, saw some targets, took one shot, went to back off, and a friendly Progetto 65 blocked me in, and by the time he realized it, I had gotten clipped by an AMX-50B plus hit by a 268B4, so that was... If you, at that point, there is no hope for you. So here's my M48A5, and these tanks look almost identical on the surface, honestly. There's a couple obvious differences. The M60's hull, not the section of 2 planes, just like, say, a T-54 Soviet medium tank or a TL-1 in the American premium tree, and you can see the zit on the top is back. When they went from the M48A1 to the A5, they made this hatch or this machine gun port a lot smaller. The M60 has it back. Is it a weak point? Absolutely, but you're not necessarily playing the M60 for armor. If you know anything about the M60's history, the M60 succeeded the M48 when a Soviet T-54 drove right into, I believe it was the British Embassy in Turkey, and defected. American and British intelligence got a long hard look at the Soviet T-54 and 55 tank, and they realized that Soviet tanks fired heat almost exclusively in enemy tanks, so they designed the M60 with less armor than the M48, but with a silica compound armor ablative, is that the right word? Adherent, rather, maybe, that would help absorb and diffuse heat ammunition. It was cost prohibitive, they didn't do it, so you ended up with a tank with less armor. However, we don't play medium tanks for the armor, do we? So let's look at this for a second. You've got a 105mm gun with 268 average penetration. You've got 9 degrees gun depression, 19 degrees of elevation. This is almost identical to what you see on your M48 Patton. However, the DPM is a little bit lower. Now, I've got mine equipped with a bounty rammer. I've got brothers in arms on my crew, of course, so my load time is down to 6.91 seconds running Cola. We'll talk about Cola in a minute, giving me a DPM of 3385. Not the highest DPM medium tank out there. STB1 still higher. M48, similarly equipped, is still higher, but not substantially higher. Where this thing excels is in the gun handling. 1.44 seconds on the aim time the way mine is equipped. I don't have a gun laying drive. And 0.3 dispersion, again, the way mine is equipped. That is absolutely fantastic, but wait till you see this sucker on the move. That's all I'm going to say in the first game. Gun traverse 52.63 per second, 52.63 degrees per second. This turret just turns. It just beep, and you're on your target. So, looking at survivability, 2,000 hit points, pretty normal. Armor on the hull is 93 degrees, 93 rather effective, not effective, but actual armor on the front hull. Probably effective closer to about 150. 74 on the sides, 25 on the rear. Front turret is at 178. You do have a pretty solid gun mantlet against heat ammunition. And to some extent HE, you'll see that also in my replay. But you do have a big weak point here. The sides and rear of the turret are very weak. Mobility. If you want to know where this tank excels over the M48A5, here it is. The M48 used to be my favorite tier 10 tank. But over the last few years, it has gotten left behind by the current meta. There's so many fast heavy tanks, and there's so many medium tanks that go 60 plus kph that it's just sluggish. You can't make moves that you can make in faster tanks. And the armor doesn't really hold up against new tier 10 tanks and heavy tanks and tank destroyer guns. So this is where this tank brings the American mediums back into their own. Specific power of 20.27, which is respectable. It's not overwhelming, but it is respectable. Top speed, 60 kph, 23 in reverse. That's where this tank excels. It's not as fast as a Leopard 1, but it's pretty good. And it's faster than most of the other medium tanks in the game, and with this specific power, it will outrun an E50M, which has a higher top speed technically, but much lower specific power. And with a traverse speed, with a reverse speed of 23 degrees, it's a fantastic poke out, take a shot, and pull back tank. Great at working ridge lines, especially with the 9 degrees gun depression. And with 73.14 degrees of traverse, this puppy just turns on a dime. It's almost, in terms of its traversing and dogfighting ability, it's almost light tank level mobility. Not so much in raw speed, but its ability to turn and keep its gun on its target. You can circle strafe any tank you want in this tank without any trouble. Concealment, nothing much to talk about here. It's a medium tank. You get less than 10% when stationary, or even when moving, and when you fire it drops down to 2%. Spotting, I don't have coated optics on this tank. I opted for different equipment. We'll talk about that in a minute. With my current crew and Queen Maeve with 100% recon, I'm at 475 view range, which is approaching max anyway. Once she adds situational awareness, I don't know why I'm training jack of all trades, but anyway, once she adds situational awareness, I won't have any spotting issues at all, and you'll see some nice spotting in the replay. 1,000 signal range, who cares? So talking about the ammunition for a minute, you fire default APCR, it's actually discarding Sabo ammunition with a shell velocity of 1,478. And at extreme range up to 500 meters, the pen only drops by 10. I mean, this thing just, it shell just goes. I mean, you don't need to lead nearly as much with this machine as you will with your other tanks. The heat ammunition has a much lower shell velocity, 1173, which is pretty standard for what you might expect, but the penetration jumps up to 350. It's not quite pen anything ammo, but it's pretty close. And then you've got good old crappy American HE with 1173 shell velocity and an average penetration of 53. Yes, American HE sucks. I don't know why it sucks. We invented the high explosive plastic that you see on all these German light tanks, yet we get this crappy little 53mm HE penetration. Whatever, moving on in life. I opted to put a bounty gun rammer on this tank because I had one, frankly. And because it's an American medium tank, you have to run vertical stabilizer. The American medium tanks have the best on-the-move accuracy of any tanks in the game, we know this, but the stabilizer, combined with the improved rotational mechanism, makes that just absolutely incredibly tremendous. And that's also part of why my mobility is so good on the Traverse. You're really, I'm going to point out some things in this replay that I think are going to be very impressive. I hope they'll be very impressive to you. So that's enough of that. Beautiful tank. I'm really thrilled to have it, and I'm going to get you some gameplay here. Alright, so here we are. We've got a game on Mannerheim line. Looking at XVM, the teams are overall pretty balanced. I think we have a few more green players than they do. We also have a few red players that they don't have. And then they got two guys that are anonymized, which generally says to me good player. I took a moment to admire the tank next to me, a Leopard 1 with the Queen Maeve kit as well. So I'm going to go up here. It's usually the medium tank playground anyway, and we're going to take a look. I mean, I'm already exceeding the M60 Patton's top speed. I'm already in the low 50s. And, I mean, I'm toying with 60 kph going over these tiny little bumps. And look at the aim circle. Look at the aim circle. Just driving along. that aim circle is tiny. It just doesn't move much at all. Coming up through here. And I'm about to make a move I used to make in my medium tanks all the time, and I stopped because it was becoming overly aggressive. But I said, look, this Leopard 1's going over there. I'm going to take this hard charge move to the far right. I would never do this in an M60 Patton, just because, and I spot that Leopard 1 way down there. I don't really have a shot. Not sure how I spotted him. I guess because my machine gun port sticks up so high. So, but I kind of like this position for this kind of tank with gun depression. I can come over, I can take a peek, I can back out. Except, I'm not spotting anything. So I probably could have made this move in the M48A5 Patton, but I wouldn't have known it until I got up here. Alright, so I'm moving forward. If I haven't spotted anything through there, I'm probably safe enough to get up over here and behind these rocks. Still nothing? Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay, well, I'm on the move now. I went down into a dip, so he didn't have a shot. He didn't spot me anyway. Put one into the side at the rear, and because I'm firing behind... Hey, guys, this is camo mechanics right here. These bushes are solid to my view, which means I don't lose their camo bonus to shoot through them. Alright, so I pull up to make him go so that I can see, then I fire again, put it through the lower plate. He does not spot me. I'm a good 300 meters away, and I'm getting a serious camo boost from these bushes. He must not have a well-trained commander either. STB-1 over there, I really don't, yeah, he's spotting me. I really don't want to pop out there. An STB-1 playing peekaboo over a ridge like that, he's really hard to pen. I take one punt at him and miss. It wasn't a very easy shot. But you see, I'm moving up, I'm looking, and I'm backing out, and my reticle doesn't change. It really doesn't change size. Yeah. Already knows I'm here, so he took a try. I help my loader, put one into the FE4005 and back out. He did spot me, so I gotta be careful with that. I'd like to put one into the Patton. There's a shot. I bounce a shot from the Patton right off the gun mantlet. And I gotta be careful. That shot hits his track. But again, I'm poking out, I'm shooting, I'm backing up. I don't have to take any time for the gun to aim because it doesn't have to aim. Good spot there. Hit the... Now look at that. Look at that. I got hit by a Hesh round, a premium Hesh round from the F4005 and a heat round from the T57 Heavy. They both hit me right on the gun mantlet, and I only took 857 from the 4005, and the T57's heat round bounced because of the spaced armor on the gun mantlet.
Track it.
Now, I am thinking I need to be a little more careful, but one into the lower plate of the T57. There's Artie again. Artie wants me. They know I'm tearing their guys up, so... Missed shot from T57. Yeah, I'm not I don't know if he can actually see me, or if he thinks he's got a shot on mine. Alright, no shot there. Alright, he's dead. Alright, let's take care of this 48. What? Bounced off the lower track. Or no, I think I tracked him. Okay. Alright, aim this one a little more carefully, and it still bounced. I think the shot was going just a little too high and hitting him on the point. Yeah, I trade that shot. I didn't really care. I had the hit points to give. He's going to come out again, and I'm going to beat his reload, and he's dead. Alright, I hide up against the rock for a moment to make sure Artie's not shooting at me, but I think Artie's got bigger concerns. Heal my commander. Tentatively get on the move. I should have moved faster, because my guys are just going. Alright, so getting up to speed. I just kind of nervous because I'm so low on health. I traded some shots I maybe shouldn't have traded, but on the other hand, we're up 5-3. We're spotting. They're already... I'd like to get some shots in there if I can. Don't know that I'm going to. I switch over to an HE round. Narrowly avoid a ravine. I really wasn't paying as close attention as I should have been. I'm going to head up here to get me a little height. There's the GW. I barely aim, hit him with the HE, and now I realize I'm not going to be able to do anything else up here, so I got to get back down. Switching back to the APCR ammo. I got to get moving here, because all of a sudden now there's only 5 enemy tanks left, and they're all over there. If I want any action, I got to move it. Alright, so we're driving. Now, here's the thing. If I were in my M48A5, the way these guys just dropped like flies, I probably would have jumped on Cap Circle. I wouldn't have even tried to go do damage, because I wouldn't get there in time. Top speed of 45, you're just not going to get there. You might get a few cap points to help your XP total a little bit. But I said, with this guy, I think I can get there. So I'm going straight for the IS-7, who's at most of his health. He's only taken, I think, that one hit right there. And I'm going to come down, I'm going to hit him on the move, and then, whoa, okay. There's the bad chat. Oh. I screwed that shot up. I fired a heat round right into his spaced armor on the side, and it bounced. If I'd fired APCR, I'd have penned that shot for some additional damage. Oh well. Fun, fast-paced game. You got to see the mobility. You got to see a little bit of on-the-move accuracy. You got to see the gun handling, which was really incredible. Let's look at some post-game stats. And I'm just don't want to do this through photos, because frankly it's just easier to do it that way. We have a second class. Okay. Can't complain too much for the first game, and being a little tentative with it. We ended up with 2 kills, of course, one on the M48 and the other on the GWE 100. I got my second Valley of Patton's medal. This is a hard one to get. You have to kill 100 Patton family tanks, and you just don't see a lot of Patton family tanks. You see more than you maybe used to. A duelist and a fire for effect, 3,300 damage, so 150%, little more than that of my hit points, 165% I guess, which you should always be your goal, especially in, like that, a pure tier 10 matchup. You have to pull your weight. 7 bonds, 2,550 XP without any bonuses other than the ×2, and I made some credits. I came in third on the team. With 829 base XP, less than 100 behind the E100 and the Batchat. So I'm pretty pleased with this performance overall. And 15 shots fired with 14 hits. I told you the gun handling was great. I only penned 9 shots. I had a couple that went into tracks, and then I had 1 or 2 of those frustrating shots on the Patton. That's interesting. Oh, I didn't hit the E100directly? Or the GWE 100, I splashed him, apparently. That's interesting, because I only fired 1 HE round. It was against him. Go figure. I received 4 hits, only 1 went through, 2 did not. Of course, the Hesh round is not counting as having gone through, because it didn't technically penetrate, but still did a lot of damage. Spotted 4 enemy tanks. So, for a guy like me, I'm a 1602 WN8 player. My tier 10 WN8 is not very good. I've got a couple tier 10s that I'm good at, but overall I'm not that great at tier 10s. This tank was everything that I hoped it would be. It's very quickly going to be right next to my STB1 as my favorite tier 10. Just solid mobility, just enough armor to keep you out of trouble a little bit. But the gun handling is just wonderful. I'm really looking forward to really getting into this tank some more and enjoying it. I hope you guys found this interesting. I hope you found it to be good. I hope you enjoyed watching the game. I hope it gave you some ideas as to whether or not the Patton is for you. And I hope you'll tune back in. I don't make a lot of content, but I do make some here or there. And all my content is geared not towards super unicums, but towards players who just want to play, have fun, and maybe learn a little something and get a little better along the way. That's always been my goal on YouTube. I'm not some of these other guys. I'm not a video game savant. I'm just a guy who likes to play in between working his sales manager's position. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.